New this morning, the U.S. sending reinforcements to Ukraine in its war with Russia. The support the U.S. is giving troops on the front lines. A group of Coloradans expected to protest tonight over the police shooting in downtown Denver that injured 6 people. We're breaking down both sides of the incident. With Colorado Front Range kids going back to school, student athletes are gearing up for fall sports, the shortage that could put games at risk. Good news for Broncos fans prepping for game day tailgates, what's now becoming more affordable for the first time in 2 years.
Good Saturday morning and welcome to Denver 7 News. I'm Jessica Crawford.
And I'm Patrick Perez. Thanks for waking up with us today. Here are some stories we're following for you this weekend. Kids in Denver public schools go back to school on Monday, and Denver police will be increasing enforcement in school zones the first week back. Watch out for more people walking or biking on sidewalks, and make sure to stop for buses loading or unloading students. And of course, watch for school crossing guards, and do not pass stopped vehicles because there is a good chance that they could be waiting for kids to cross the street.
All good tips there. Changes are starting this weekend for more than 24 RTD routes. RTD is reinstating some school tripper service routes as the academic year gets into full swing next week. They're also adding some extra buses to help students in Boulder get to and from CU for their first day of classes on Monday.
And the Boulder Reservoir Swim Beach is closed once again for the second time this month because of elevated levels of bacteria. Boulder Parks and Recreation officials say the swim area will reopen once bacteria levels return to normal. Boating, water skiing, and fishing are still allowed. Officials say cooler weather and rain will help alleviate this problem.
Taking a look outside right now over the downtown Denver skyline. Just beautiful out there as the sun comes up at 6:58. Let's get over to Katie LaSalle for our first check of the weekend forecast.
Good morning, you guys. Happy Saturday to Colorado. Yeah, we're waking up to a really gorgeous morning here across the metro. A little cool out there with high 50s out at the airport, low 60s downtown, and we'll stay under a partly cloudy sky through mid-morning. 9 o'clock, 67 degrees. We'll get to the low 70s by 11, but cooler, wetter weather is on the way for the state as we go through this weekend. Your high country planner expect more of those thunderstorms to develop, especially afternoon, and daytime highs will only top out in the 50s and 60s out to the west. Near 80 degrees in Denver today, but we are looking at more of that heavy rain moving into portions of our northern and central mountains. We'll be keeping an eye on burn scar areas for the potential of some flash flooding, and then here over the Denver area, about a 30% possibility of seeing an isolated thunderstorm or two. We will gradually clear out later on tonight, waking up to a little more sunshine tomorrow. And another round of late day thunderstorms expected. I'll have your full forecast still to come. Meantime, 6 innocent people are forever changed after they were caught in the crossfire of Denver police trying to arrest a man last month.
The officers fired shots at Jordan Waddy just as crowds were letting out of Lodo bars. Some people in Colorado are now upset over the police response that put the public in danger in the process. Denver 7's Christian Lopez is live with both sides of this complicated incident.
And demonstrators are expected to gather here at Commons Park tonight, and then they will march to the location where that shooting happened at 20th and Larimer. And they're doing this to show support for those innocent bystanders who were hurt. And they're also upset after watching that body camera footage. And we've all seen that video. We've been showing it to you ever since it came out a few days ago. This group is outraged that police shot into that crowd of people. We can see that video and the moment the chaos broke out in Lodo a month ago. The group that is organizing this protest, they are the Denver Communists, and they say that footage shows that the suspect, Jordan Waddy, is discarding his weapon without pointing it at anyone. We also spoke to a former patrol officer who is now a criminal justice professor, and she told us that between the growing violence in downtown Denver and the mass shootings across the country, officers feel more pressured to react quickly when they sense a threat of gun violence.
I think one thing that can happen to officers when they're in a situation like that and they do think there is a gun is you get a little bit of tunnel vision, which can occur. So you tend to focus on the suspect who has the gun versus everything around you in order to stop that threat. Anytime you're in a big crowd, you definitely, when you see a gun, you need to make a split-second decision on whether it's safe to take that shot or not.
Definitely a very controversial case. It will require a grand jury investigation, and those 3 officers who were involved in the shooting, they are on modified duty at the moment. Live in Denver this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
All right, thanks so much, Kristen. Well, bystanders hurt during that shooting say it is a night they will never forget. They were all outside Larimer Beer Hall in a crowd of people as officers responded to a fight. Well, some of the innocent people hurt in the exchange are speaking out after police released body camera video on Tuesday. One victim cannot bring himself to watch it just yet.
I'm still dealing with the healing process of what took place that day, physically and mentally. I'll eventually watch it.
Everything happened so quickly, and in one of the videos you can very clearly see that the suspect had dropped the weapon before shots were fired.
And as a civilian, if I was to be in that situation or I shot a bullet in that situation, I would have been immediately, publicly everywhere and held accountable.
Now, one of the shooting victims has nerve damage to his hand because of this incident. A grand jury will now decide whether the 3 officers involved should face charges.
A Denver County judge will decide in 2 months whether to stop the state's order to reorganize the Adams 14 school district. Yesterday wrapped up 2 days of evidentiary hearings, and Adams 14 is suing the State Board of Education over its decision to reorganize the troubled school district and strip its accreditation. The district argues that order has caused irreparable harm, and it wants the judge to dismiss the order and have its accreditation restored. The state's decision to reorganize Adams 14 followed years of poor test performance and below average graduation rates.
The high school sports season has arrived in Colorado, but a shortage of referees could spell some trouble.
Yeah, Denver 7's Russell Haythorne is following what the Colorado High School Activities Association calls a crisis that could threaten the games this fall.
Chassa says the need for officials is so great, they're asking more teams and more districts to move off of popular weekend nights and to more weeknights like this, even football being asked to move off of Friday nights to more Thursday nights and Saturday afternoons.
All right, this is the drill, guys.
On the gridiron,
get down, Leo. Get that stance out here, man. Eyes up, Leo. There you go, just like that, son.
Hinckley High head coach Dennis York says his team has worked too hard and they are ready for the season, whether it's under the Friday night lights or not.
We don't mind playing on a Saturday. We don't mind playing on a Thursday.
There simply aren't enough refs to call all the games scheduled for Friday this fall, so if some teams move to Thursday, they can use the same refs on those nights.
They are a vital part of the DNA of all sports, right? But a lot of these officials, they're just tired of being berated.
Check to make sure that's an approved race. That's not hard.
Chassa says the shortage is widespread and includes all sports.
We are really in a crisis right now. And really what this is about the kids playing, right?
Assistant Commissioner Mike Book is a basketball referee himself and attributes the shortage to low pay, the pandemic, and perhaps most of all, poor sportsmanship among parents and fans. Book says this year Chassa will take real action if fans become unruly, a promise to officials to be more proactive.
I think it's more than just talking, because I think we have talked about it. We have to control it, and we have to put our foot down and say we can't have that, because we're not going to have officials. And if we don't have officials, we're not going to have games.
Back on the practice field, York says ultimately it's a team's responsibility.
We are responsible for not only our sidelines, but our fans that belong to us.
Because the games must go on.
Set. Hut. Hut. Push it. There you go. Finish it. Finish it. Finish it.
Chassa says it also plans to discuss pay for officials, as well as even gas mileage for officials who have to travel long distances for games, as part of a new commitment to address the officiating shortage. At Hinckley High School, Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.
Russell, thank you. And Chassa also says the number of officials needed statewide varies from sport to sport. Currently, Assistant Commissioner Mike Book says there just aren't enough officials to cover the varsity contests, let alone junior varsity, freshman and sophomore games. Denver 7 asked how many officials Chassa needs this fall, and Book simply said a whole bunch of them and then some.
Yeah, sounds like a big problem. Well, the Denver Broncos are in New York preparing to take on the Buffalo Bills later today. Russell Wilson and other starters are not expected to play much, if at all. Head coach Nathaniel Hackett says the risk injury, preseason is just not worth the benefit for these veterans. And it is an early game, by the way. The kickoff is at 11 a.m. Denver 7's Broncos insider Troy Rank is in Buffalo for the game. And right now on Denver 7 Plus, you can watch Troy's breakdown of what he's looking for at today's game. You can find Denver 7 Plus on your streaming device.
One of the best football things about football season is the flavors.
I know.
Food. Well, the price of a popular football tailgating food is finally getting back to normal.
Finally, something good's happening. Denver 7's Jason Grenauer explains how that can be good for us, of course, and our local businesses.
Just in time for football season, a bit of a return to normal when it comes to the cost of this kind of spicy chicken. For restaurants like here at Fire on the Mountain in Denver, for the first time since early 2020, wing prices are back to their pre-pandemic levels. The pandemic spiked prices of chicken wings. There was even a reported shortage at one point. At Fire on the Mountain, that price hike was costing the restaurant about $100,000 per year more. They kept their doors open, tried to minimize the price increase for customers, and turned to things like delivery. Now, this locally owned and operated restaurant says they have some long-awaited breathing room.
It's a huge deal for us just because our margins were so slim at that point. We kind of took the hit there. Instead of, we raised prices slightly, but not enough to cover the cost of wings. So we took the hit really for the 3-year period, and now we'll just be slightly more profitable and still be able to deliver the same quality product we always have.
And this isn't just here locally. The USDA says nationwide, the wholesale price of wings is now at the lowest it's been since May of 2020. And it couldn't have come at a better time with sports seasons firing up. Yeah, demand then also goes up for this kind of deliciousness. Reporting in Denver, I'm Jason Grenauer, Denver 7.
That is for sure. Great reported there, Jason. Well, the weather may be cooling off, but it's not quite time for snow, but the preps are already underway for ski season here in Colorado, and how you can get the best deals on everything from passes to rentals.
But first, the situation escalating between Russia and Ukraine as speculation swirls over nuclear contamination, the United States' latest involvement in the region.